No. Oh. Am I using the wrong one?
Yeah, that's Ethernet.
Yeah, I'm like technology.
Oh, the phone things, right?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, no worries at all.
Cool, cool, cool.
Let's see. Give it permission. Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm just gonna do this. So hi everyone. If you remember, I started opening the whole summit, and now I'm back, sort of like looping and closing this section. And I'm gonna talk you very quickly about the agent top-level domain. So it is not a startup we are building. This is a community effort. What we are doing is effectively, if you think about it, the .agent top-level domain that doesn't exist yet might just be the strategically most important domain that you can name. .ai already exists, of course, but it belongs to a country, so it's a country code. So this year, ICANN, the governing body of Internet, DNS, some of you might be familiar with them, have an application window for new domains. There are going to be a lot of new domains. And .agent is probably going to be one of the most important that many companies will apply. So why does it matter? Because agents need names. Like many of you might be running an OpenClaw right now, and many of you have already bought a domain for them. And they live somewhere on a .horse or a .xyz or some random domains, but effectively, they are agents, and they might just want to have names. Additionally, a lot of services and support services are no longer going to be human at the other end. They're going to be agents or agentic AI services. So having something where you can recognize that immediately you're interacting with an agent is pretty important. And that's why what we are doing is effectively create a community-governed namespace for agent that is not owned by a single monopolistic company like OpenAI or Anthropic or name your favorite villain, but governed by this community called the agent community that ensures that it's fair, distributed, and available like everywhere without like limitations that some of these companies want to make sure that shareholder value goes up. And how to do that? Effectively, if you think, .edu is for education already. Whenever you visit such a site, you expect to have an educational institution at the other end. So that's what we want to achieve, is that .agent becomes the AI native domain space. When you visit it, you expect to have an AI or an agent endpoint just there that you can, or your agent can interact with. And how we are doing it. So this is a little bit about the background of how the entire ICANN mechanism works. They have a special process called a community priority evaluation. And why does it matter? Because many companies, some of them I already mentioned, will apply for this domain. They have technically infinite budget for marketing to own this piece of property. However, ICANN luckily have a bylaw which enables communities to apply for certain domains as long as they can prove that they are a strong community. And this community is called a priority evaluation. So if the community is approved, it's actually have an early access to the domain name without the domain even going for a bidding war. And so this is the sort of loophole that we are aiming to use with the agent community. Predominantly, this is an AI project. So we have over 1,000 members now, including Alibaba Cloud, Netlify, Datadog, Grab from Singapore, and like a lot more. And we are inviting you to join. You can use the QR code or just head over to agentcommunity.org because effectively we need the breadth and the depth of the membership. These companies I mentioned are the biggest one that you might recognize, but individual contributors or members as well as small companies matter as much because we really need to show that this is a very big community. So I do invite you to come and join us, help us to make it happen. It is a non-profit effort to make sure that the internet is not completely controlled by a couple of entities, and that agents have a home to go. Please use the QR code. Technically, like this is it. I'm very open to questions. If you sign up, you actually can pre-register your dream domain name right now. This is non-binding, so we are not saying that you actually own it yet, but you will have early access to these once we become the registrar. Any questions? Yeah. So just to repeat the question, so he asked like, how did we came up that there is even a bylaw and how did it happen? So it's a little bit about me. Lucas already said I used to run KYC DAO, but before that, more importantly, I used to be the director of the Decentralized Identity Foundation. So if you heard about verifiable credentials and decentralized identifiers, our foundation was managing the standards around that. So I was the director. I worked with a lot of identity people across the space. I did a lot of politics to make sure that standards are created and aligned as much as possible between competing companies. And sort of post-GPT, I played a lot, and I built something that today wouldn't really be an agent, but some agentic infra, and I wanted to buy a domain. And I wanted to buy a .agent domain because it's an agent, and I learned that it's only agency that exists today. And I was like, oh my God, like this has to exist, this will exist. The next thought was, oh my God, OpenAI is gonna get it. Okay, we have to look at like what it can do. So I got everything from I can throw it into a ChatGPT, just told me it's too much context. So I started to break it down, went through it, was like a year and a half ago, and basically found that there is a community process that is not overused, but this year it's going to be a little simpler than it was last time. Just for fun fact, the last application for new domains was in 2012, 14 years ago. So this year is the next application window, and it's going to open in April and open for 90 days. If anyone wants to do a namespace, please reach out. I'm pretty involved. But effectively, the agent community is only focusing on .agent to make sure that like this piece of the internet is well governed. I can talk. There is not much. So like there is a lot of people who are skeptical on what we are doing because getting the community application is really hard. So it's notoriously hard. A lot of the big players in the domain space do not really want because they can't make money on this because it's a community owned. It's still going to be sold, but it's not going to their wallets. So it's been tried many times to kind of like pushed out. .org became a non-organizational domain, but like non-foundation domain, but focused on anything. So big domain, if we can say, has an interest of this not happening. Luckily, we are getting really big players joining us that lend us their reputation, but also their importance in the internet infrastructure space. And while many other community applications before were more religious related or beliefs related, this is a very extremely technology related. So the companies that are buying domains and operating in the tech space around these domains are the ones that are joining us. So we do believe we have a really good shot. Plus, important people from ICANN are reaching out to have conversations to learn about where we are and where we are headed. But there is going to be a lot of money on the line. So some of those companies, if it would go to bidding, the bidding money goes to ICANN. So ICANN could have an interest on having bidding instead of a community-governed domain space. So we do invite you to join and help us to get the domain. Yeah. I think that's it. Like, any more questions? Yeah, cool. If there are no more questions, then thank you very much. Take a photo. I was Balazs. My name is Hungarian. You can find me outside here, or we have a booth that way.